What's up, wrestling fans? Yes, I'm in the dark in a dining room area of crap because in the closet area because I can't be in my normal area. But whatever, it is what it is. NXT Takeover is on the horizon. Well, it's tonight. And, I'm wearing my Bruins sweater. There's two reasons why I wear my Bruins sweater. Number one, I love hockey, obviously. Number two, hey, the colors just happen to match NXT, and that's perfect for me. That rhymed. Didn't mean for that to happen. But anyway, tonight is NXT, man. There's 4 matches. We've talked a lot about this sort of off and on throughout the week with different things. But the one thing that sticks out to me is this time, as every time, they either top themselves or they put on a wonderful show. You can't top yourself every time, and in some cases you take a step back. But in NXT, there is no real step back. They've all just been so good, it's almost incredible what NXT has been able to do. And every single time we talk about NXT, we bring that up. Every single time we bring that up. And it's crazy that's what happens. So that's how good NXT has been. I mean, Triple H's phone calls, his press conference calls alone have been gold. They've been amazing. Recently, I mean, he was asked the question about why, the show only has 4 matches. And I talked about this last week, or at least whenever it was the Triple H's phone call press conference happened. I played some of the audio for you guys, and we spoke about it a little bit. And, man, Triple H is he's just so reassuring, man. A lot of people are like, why are there only 4 matches? And, Triple H said on the conference call that he prefers quality over quantity. You couldn't be any more opposite than the main roster WWE. The problem is, although we would all say, obviously, give us quality over quantity. Leave us begging for more. Leave us asking for more, as opposed to, making us fall asleep halfway through the damn show, wondering why the hell we're there. However, all the main roster stooges would have you believe that that NXT really only does the right thing by some people. And honestly, guys, how can we argue with them? We really can't at this point argue with them because the amount of people that are watching NXT, they say, unless they're lying about numbers, compared to the WWE main roster, is much lower. Now, what I'll also say is I feel like NXT has a much stronger continual base. I feel like the same amount of people continuously show up to watch NXT. So whatever the audience base is at for NXT, it stays. Maybe it grows a little bit. But for the most part, I think it stays about what it's at. Whereas the main roster is losing and losing and losing fans. So, you can take that however you want to take it and do with that however you want to do with it. But today it is NXT TakeOver, and I meant to get a screenshot of that so I could pop that up on the screen here, and I'm going to do that right now. Oh, there it is. Look at how beautiful that is. War Games, TakeOver War Games 2. I don't know if that's the first logo or the second one, but it's War Games 2 tonight. I'm pumped up. There's a lot of different things going to happen tonight. Let's go with the first. This is probably the toughest one. War Games itself. The War Raiders, WWE UK Champion Pete Dunne, NXT North American Champion Ricochet versus the Undisputed Era, Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, and the NXT Tag Team Champions Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly. It's going to be chaos, man. And I mean, that match, you talk about this only being 4 hours, but basically, or rather being only 4 matches. My expectations of the show tonight are that the reason why there's only 4 matches is, of course, the runtime. I don't think Triple H really cares whether there's 5 matches or 6 matches or 4 matches. I think it's about the time at this point, too. You know what I mean? Or you would have thrown another match in there. War Games 2 itself is probably going to be 2 matches. You know what I mean? The length of 2 matches. Maybe the length of 3 matches, okay? It could be the length of 3 matches, all right? So, obviously, they didn't want to put a 5th match on here. So in the end, most likely, you're going to get about the same amount of entertainment on NXT TakeOver that you normally get. You're probably going to get the same amount of hours and all that. So there's going to be really no loss. Certainly there's not another match, and I don't know what the other match would be. Maybe that's something you guys can write in the comments down below. We'll talk about that on Patreon later on. By the way, if you guys want to support what I do, make sure you guys check out my Patreon, patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show, and join it, man. Over 345 strong on the JCS Army on Patreon. And we're going to be talking about some of the patrons here at the end of the video. But let me tell you this. It's going to be just as good. It doesn't matter. 4 or 5 matches, whatever, man. People are geared up and nutting themselves over the War Games thing. Now, you know, I don't know what's going to happen here. I almost get the feeling that perhaps, you know, you may see, you know, I mean, okay, let me just back up. There's a lot of speculation about people coming up next week from NXT. WWE main roster is getting a bit stale. They know this. They have to know this. Roman Reigns is out. There's just major issues going on right now. I got to believe 1 or 2 of these groups or people are coming up from NXT, which would really kind of, you know, mess up the landscape here in NXT a little bit. But whenever this happens, they just plug in new people. It ends up working out really well. That's a whole nother video that we could do about a whole nother thing. You're creeping me out coming sitting here. What's going on? Leah just sat down next to me, and I'm, like, terrified. Why is she doing that? I don't know why. So, yeah, you know, I don't want to really get into all that. I'd like to save that sort of for a different video or for my Patreon audio. But, you know, I think some of it kind of pertains to, you know, what's... talk about that right now. I'm doing a video. And I can't pause it because this laptop's a piece of shit, so every time I pause, things almost freeze. So the War Raiders, you know, I don't know. I feel like the War Raiders probably need this the most as far as getting a big win in a match. I don't think they really need it. I think Undisputed really should come out on top to keep them going strong. But, you know, the bottom line is I want to cut to the chase with that thing, man. War Raiders, WWE UK Champion Pete Dunne, and NXT North American Champion Ricochet versus Undisputed Era. It's gonna be crazy. You know, I want to go with Undisputed in this thing, but you know, I just don't think I don't think they need it, man. At this point, I'm gonna go with the good guy. I'm gonna go with the so-called good guys. I mean, who are the good guys, really, man? I mean, I'm a big Undisputed fan, but you know what? I'm gonna change my tune already. I'm gonna change it right now. I'm just gonna say Undisputed, man. I want Undisputed to walk out of there on top. You know, I mean, somebody. I know that it really. It's like, I don't know, man. You know what? I changed my mind again. I think War Raiders need it. I don't think Undisputed needs it. I think they're a menace. I think they've had belts already. They've done things. Adam Cole is the NXT. You know, they get the tag belts. They got everything else. So, you know what I mean? I put it on the War Raiders. So there you go. I'm gonna make that really quick and move on because I got to move quick. So I apologize for that. So again, quality over quantity from Triple H, and that's what we're going to get tonight at NXT TakeOver. That being said, let's move on to the next match real quick because I'm all fucked up now. I don't know what I was talking about. Anyway, Johnny Gargano versus Alistair Black. Johnny Gargano versus Alistair Black. The weirdest of anything else. It's bizarre. It's a wrench they threw in. It's a roadblock. It's kind of a mini change in direction that really caught a lot of people off guard. Some people they didn't catch off guard. A lot of people were talking about Johnny Gargano being the guy like right away, and it ended up being that he was. So kind of crazy, man. You know, he did this to Alistair Black, and you know, Gargano really needs some momentum, but you know, Gargano hadn't been able to beat Tommaso Ciampa. And now Alistair Black, you know, looking weak coming off of the, you know, he's got no NXT championship anymore. So, I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. These are all tough calls, I think. I'm going to go with Alistair Black winning the match, though. I am going to go with Alistair Black winning. And, you know, I mean, if you wanted to flip Johnny Gargano, like, fully heel, you could have him win by cheating. Johnny Gargano could beat Alistair Black by cheating. Then he could show up later on in the night to screw over Tommaso Ciampa. And honestly, that's a possibility. I'm not sure what would be up with that, to be honest. I mean, because then you got yourself, you know, Ciampa and Gargano. Why in the world did you decide to flip Gargano and Ciampa and make Ciampa the face heel? You know, sort of the Stone Cold Steve Austin. and make Gargano become the Bret Hart, sort of. It would be a really weird flip. I mean, it just seemed for no real reason to me other than to keep things lively. I don't know. So it is possible in my mind that Johnny Gargano could beat Alistair Black via cheating somehow, whether that's a low blow or using a foreign object or whatever, and maybe doing something messed up to Alistair Black. And then Gargano showing up later on in the night to cost Tommaso Ciampa the NXT World Championship. And then Velveteen Dream would then become the NXT champion. Tommaso Ciampa would then continue his feud with Gargano, but in sort of a different fashion, But I'm not going with that. I'm going with Alistair Black wins, and that's it. I'm just going to go with Alistair Black wins. Where does that leave Johnny Gargano? I don't know. I think that leaves him with a loss, and then that leaves him with maybe facing Tommaso Ciampa next. Again, whether that's for a belt or not, I don't know. Although we thought maybe they would prolong this until WrestleMania weekend or WrestleMania's NXT TakeOver, but, I'm not really sure. I don't think Gargano's a guy that's going to be coming up. I don't think the Champ is a guy yet that's going to be coming up, but you never know with how panicked the main roster is right now. Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane have been really pretty good. Better than I thought. I wasn't a fan of Shayna Baszler. It's weird. Shayna Baszler has been hit or miss for me. Sometimes she's just so broody, I don't really enjoy it. But then there's other times where she tells a great story. Believe it or not, like her matches, whoever's been, the agents on these matches and her execution and everything have really worked out fairly well. And Kairi Sane is so different than Shayna Baszler that the opposites attract in this case, and they really give us a different type of match. This sort of lightweight, very agile, high-flying Kairi Sane versus a brooding, stiff sort of MMA style of Shayna Baszler. It's not Bayley and Sasha Banks for sure, Bayley and Sasha Banks were more close to each other on their skills, and they were able to meld into a wonderful wrestling match. These two are kind of polar opposites, and it's working out for them as well. And this is a 2 out of 3 falls match. Another match that has the potential to go long. So, and I think their other meetings have been fairly short, so it'll be interesting to see how long exactly that this goes. So I think that Shayna Baszler, they're seemingly setting up the 4 horsewoman thing. We've been talking about that for a while. She just won back the championship, and a lot of us have been saying, we don't know what's going to happen here. Now, do they want Shayna Baszler to feature that NXT title? If she does cross up to the main roster back and forth, what do they want to do? Or do they want Shayna Baszler up now, and she's done all she can at NXT? That's my belief. I think they're going to use Kairi Sane to defend the NXT championship and continue in NXT. I think Kairi Sane continues in NXT. They've already got so many non-English speaking or people that don't speak English the best up on the main roster, like Asuka and Shinsuke, that I think they don't really want to mess around yet with another person that they have to deal with like that on the main roster. So Kairi Sane stays. Shayna Baszler, though, able to speak a bit and is kind of learned quickly here in a way. So I believe Shayna Baszler actually may get the call-up, and she may lose tonight to Kairi Sane. That's my opinion. It may not happen whatsoever, but that's just where I'm looking at things. They need some new blood again on the main roster once again. Now you have Becky Lynch injured. A lot of these women especially on SmackDown, it's just like it's garbage after. It's like Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and Ronda Rousey, and then everybody else. And then, of course, Bayley and Sasha, they should be up at that level, but they're not billed that way right now. They're booked like a joke. So Sasha and Bayley are a joke. And then pretty much after that, almost all the women are a joke. I thought that the Riot Squad was doing well for a while, but then we're giving cookie cutter stuff for what's her name? God damn it, Ruby Riott to do. Like, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Actually, I did. Sorry, not sorry promo really ruined her character, despite the fact that I think she delivered as best she can that robotic speech. But anyway, there you go. Kairi Sane, NXT champion. Shayna Baszler. I think I'm calling Shayna Baszler to move up to the main roster. And now let's go to the main event. The main event, probably. Well, actually, the main event may be War Games. I don't know. I don't know what the order is on the matches. Velveteen Dream versus Tommaso Ciampa. Is this the Velveteen Dream's time? We know, that the main roster needs this guy. This is a guy I would believe is very similar to Elias. The only difference is I think Elias got very stale in NXT. I think he stopped kind of working as well in NXT, and he was better suited for the main roster. You don't always see that. At least he's better suited for the type of writing and the type of storylines, if you can even call them that on the main roster, that they give. Elias was made for that. But as far as Velveteen Dream goes, Velveteen Dream he's suited for NXT, I believe, or the main roster. His wrestling style is a throwback almost. He's got this agility, this fluidity, this charisma in everything he does. When he does any move, he looks like he puts his whole body into it. He sells like a Shawn Michaels, Macho Man, and a Rick Rude all rolled into one. It's very interesting to watch Velveteen Dream. I love the way he sells and wrestles. You have two different styles sometimes in my mind. Bret Hart kind of always threw what looked to be stiff shots, but he didn't hurt anybody. He made it look really good. And Shawn Michaels was more kind of charismatic and stuff, and he sold really well too. Two different styles, but they both sold really well. They sold everything they did really well. Bret really sold his offense well. I think Velveteen Dream leans more towards the Shawn Michaels type. But there's also a lot of wrestlers from the 80s and early 90s that sort of have that style, and it's like Velveteen Dream absorbed that. I love this guy. I would pay money to see Velveteen Dream. I would pay money to cheer for him and to see him compete in a match. I mean, this is going to be nuts, man. I mean, and who knows what Ricochet is going to do in War Games. I mean, this is just going to be a fun night, man. I can't wait for tonight. It's only the afternoon. I'm getting excited. So Velveteen Dream, Tommaso Ciampa. Tommaso Ciampa keeps the belt. He potentially feuds with Johnny Gargano. Anyway, even though there was no interference, perhaps. And Velveteen Dream, I would believe, if Velveteen Dream loses this match, I really believe he's getting the call-up. If Velveteen Dream loses this match to Tommaso Ciampa, I strongly believe Velveteen Dream will get the call-up. It is also possible, let me also say, it is also possible Johnny Gargano shows up at the end of NXT TakeOver in this match to actually help Tommaso Ciampa and cost Velveteen Dream the title. And whether that means that Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa form an alliance, that's possible. Now, does Johnny Gargano form an alliance with Tommaso Ciampa so that eventually he can turn on him down the road around WrestleMania time so they can have that big final blow-off match? Whoa, that'd be interesting. Johnny Gargano sort of doing Tommaso Ciampa's bidding almost for the next 4 or 5 months or whatever it is, costing Velveteen Dream the title so Velveteen Dream can jump up to the main roster. Or, tonight, does Velveteen Dream capture the NXT Championship and become the reigning NXT Champion? That doesn't make any sense. Becoming the reigning? I don't know why I said that. I'm getting really excited. I don't know. What the fuck? Have some water, dick. There we go. All right, so I'm getting really excited. But anyway, Velveteen Dream, Tommaso Ciampa, all those scenarios, two of those scenarios sound fun to me. I think it would be fun if Gargano helped Ciampa and it went off the air like, what the hell is Gargano doing? Velveteen Dream loses, and then Velveteen comes to the main roster. However, we need to fight this urge of liking the idea of Gargano coming to the main roster because why? We got to stop doing this, man. Most of these guys, you don't want them coming to the main roster. It ruins them every single time. The only reason why it's different, and I'm going against my own words, because I think when Adam Cole and all them come to the main roster, I think it's dead. I think we're done. So I just don't want these people coming to the main roster because in NXT they're gods. In the main roster, they're humanoids. As Bobby the Brain Heenan would say, they are humanoids. But they're the wrestlers, though. He used to say that about the crowd. I'm calling some of the wrestlers humanoids when they come to the main roster. So, selfishly, I would certainly love Velveteen Dream to come to the main roster so we could get some better entertainment. But I also think it would be fun to watch him on an NXT championship run. I know that I've said I've called people idiots, in fact, who are excited for anybody from NXT to come to the main roster. I know I've said that. But I can't help but go against my own beliefs and my own criticisms and my own words by thinking, man, I really do want Velveteen Dream to come to the main roster. I just feel like Vince will push him and he'll do well and he could be something on the main roster. But there's so much risk to roll the dice for that hopeful reward that I'm terrified. I am going to take the plunge tonight. I'm going to take one last plunge tonight. You've ruined Bobby Roode. You've neutered Shinsuke Nakamura. And you've half-assed several other people. You've killed Sanity. American Alpha was destroyed by you. The Ascension. This is my last time. I promise, as God is my witness, this right now is the last time I will hope and predict for somebody to come to the main roster. If this does not work out, I will never do it again. And I may even set fire to my privates. So I will say right now that the Velveteen Dream is going to lose this match to Tommaso Ciampa. And he may get the assist from Johnny Gargano. I don't know. But I am going to say Velveteen Dream loses. And Tommaso Ciampa retains the belt. And Velveteen Dream gets the call-up to the main roster, probably to Raw, and maybe Monday night. Maybe. Now, in a perfect world, I would probably prefer Velveteen Dream to win and go on a title reign in NXT because he'd be a star. He would be very similar to the star that Sasha Banks was when she used to walk out with that NXT championship looking like a goddess, looking like the queen, looking like the boss in NXT. That's what Sasha Banks did. She delivered. She made a 31 or 30-year-old Joe Cronin go out and buy a female's t-shirt that says boss or whatever it said, Sasha Banks with the gold letters. I bought a female's t-shirt. That's how powerful and how dominant at the time and impressive and fun and exciting Sasha Banks was. Velveteen Dream could be all that as well. Joe Cronin's going out to get that purple t-shirt with the cutoffs. All right, I'm ready to do it. You've connected with me. You made a white Irish dude love a black female. Love her so much I bought her merchandise. There is no color, there is no race and all that crap, in my eyes. I love anybody for whatever they can do. But that's impressive. You made tons of guys do that. She did it. That's how exciting Sasha Banks was. She connected with everybody. Black, white, doesn't speak English, whatever they were. Women, men, children, kids, adults, big fat males from Montana who whack off while eating popcorn in the moonlight. You did that, Sasha Banks. And then they brought you up to the main roster. And they confused the hell out of the casuals with you, I'll tell you that. So, Velveteen Dream, man, I could see the dream being alive in NXT for a long time as the NXT champion for another year almost, You could really run this guy in NXT. He would be the face. Velveteen Dream would be the face of NXT, and it would be epic. And he would become the champion. And ideally, I think that probably is the better, safer decision right now. You can always bring him up later. He's a young guy. How young is Velveteen Dream? He's like 23? You can bring him up next year. Let him wrestle in NXT. Let him set fire to this brand, man, as much as he already has. But I am going to take the different approach right now and pick him to lose and to go to the main roster. I don't want to say that. I feel almost sick to my stomach saying that. We're going to find out, though. NXT TakeOver tonight. I will be live after NXT TakeOver with all you guys. I hope to see you there. It's going to be a fun time. And then come to my live show. We'll talk about it all night or for a little while. So we usually do about an hour in NXT TakeOver reviews. And then later on tonight on my Patreon, the Corrupted Podcast. Are you ready for the Corrupted Podcast? I think it's episode 74. It's going to be a good time. You can hear it for just $1. For $5 a month, you get 30 hours of content. And it's been a fun time. Patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. The link is down below. Links are down below. Message is down below. But also on top of that, I just got to thank everybody for making this show possible on Patreon. If you guys like what I do here and you want me to keep doing these things, I've really pumped up and bumped up the amount of videos I've been doing. I've been trying to do more, and I'm going to continue to keep doing more. There's still no more word about the whole Ellsworth situation, just a weird situation with him. Commented on that. I'll try to follow up on that if I can. He's denying it, giving his lawyer's number out. You know, a lot of people think there's clear evidence he did it. A lot of people think there's no evidence that he really did it, despite all the pictures that the accuser has sent. But I want to thank the executive producers of the Joe Cronin Show who have supported with over $3K or more over the past year. Brian Himmelfarb, Justin Mcneil, DMOON, The Bear, Gorilla Strong, Nikki T, The Goon, Schleppy, TNA Better Than WWE, LukeNDfan, NullDeath, ABELsalasJR, Bad Omen, WoolhatDemon, Shell, and AruShinchu, and Lemon. Also want to thank the patrons, the top patron producers, all the patrons really, but the associate producers on Patreon at the $25 and up tier. You guys are going above and beyond to just help out, so I really appreciate that. And we got Justin Mcneil, who's the top tier right now. Freddie Mitchell, BrokenLion, Mike Hartzler, Jim Case, Frog Kid, BigBadAds, Sav King, Vito, Brian Himmelfarb, Marz Mira, Coop the Comedian, The Bear, Cameron Sinclair, Tyler Lewis, Floyd, Nicky J, and SoCom Kastle. Everybody helping up. Sav King just upped his pledge from 50 to 60. William Ritchie is back on Patreon with $2 a month, and Freddie Mitchell going for $30 a month. Thank you, Freddie Mitchell. And I appreciate you guys. Monetize This was fun last night. If you missed it, go check it out. If you don't know what it is, it's a non-wrestling show. It's chaotic. Live donations, live calls, and just a lot of hopeful comedy, and we talk about crazy shit and whatever. Anyway, I'm Joe Cronin. Been doing this since 2012, and I'm having fun continuing it into 2019, which is coming up. We are so close to 60,000 subscribers. If you like this video, share it to all your wrestling friends or whatever. Share it on the message board. Share it all over the place. Tag it, tweet it, whatever you got to do. And we may hit that 60,000 subscriber mark tonight. That'd be kind of cool. There'll be a party. I'm looking forward to this, man. It's going to be a big night tonight. We'll see you tonight live after WWE War Games or NXT War Games. If you're new, make sure you guys subscribe down below and click that bell like you're clicking your